Shalom. Kol holo Yahweh Ba'ashum Yahusha Ba'ashum Rakach Wadash. The bonds of the apostles, the bonds of the elders, at Great Millstone Ruel tells us truth. Much respect to you brothers out there is preaching his word in truth and sincerity. Throughout the four corners of earth, Tabernacle David, hopeful elect, and the speckled bird. Shalom, shalom, shalom. So as you see right here, I have today's lesson entitled Strike While the Iron is Hot, right? And we're seeing wars and rumors of wars. We're seeing a lot of things play out right before our very eyes. So what I mean by that is, get this word while you can, right? Making your calling and election sure while you can. As the scriptures speak of, there's seasons, man, right? And we're in the season of, hey, you better while you have the chance, get things right, because we're in the time of war. We're in the time of mourning. We're in the time of war is going to escalate, right? And Jacob's trouble is going to pop off. So now, more so than ever, if the elect ain't already sealed, right? Get this word while you can. I'm gonna get this scripture real quick, and then I'll get to it. Give me 1 second. Isaiah 55 and verse 6. Seek ye the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, while he may be found. Call ye while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. Let him return unto the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua. And check this. And he will have mercy upon him. To our power, he will abundantly pardon. As you read up, actually, it talks about the sure mercies of David, right? It's like it, y'all. So my iPad and thing acting all slow every time I click something. Anyways, as I said earlier, it talks about the sure mercies of David. Yahweh Razawi of those men will have mercy, man. We want to be abundantly pardoned because there's sins that we have done in our past life before we came to the truth. Some of those sins may have been sins unto death, right? So we praying to the Lord and making our call and election sure. So Yahweh Razah, the Lord will take care of us, man, especially in the times that we in. Check this. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, save the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Check this. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than yours, and my thoughts than your thoughts, right? Because Jake, I had a cousin I was speaking to. Jake will try to put the Lord on their level. Why, Lord? Why didn't you do this? Or why, Lord, did you take this family member away? Why did you take my son? All types of stuff like that. Jake will try to put the Lord on their type of level, on their pedestal, right? But the Lord is higher than you, deeper than you, right? They'll have a family member that pass away and they'll stop believing in the Lord. They'll be mad at the Lord, not knowing that if you actually knew the scriptures, if you knew who you are, right? Your family members at peace, man. They resting, they good, they coming back. You're going to be able to see them again. Scriptures speak of, just roughly paraphrasing, a fool is going to mourn for a person all their life, man. There's a season to mourn, right? I'm not telling you that not to mourn, but there's a season for that, right? You wake up and like, hey, my dog is good, man. But anyways, getting to it. That's another lesson for another day. We want to stay on track. For as the rain cometh down and the snow from heaven and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth and make it bring forth bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. You see, the Lord does all these things, man. The Lord has created such a beautiful system to where the earth is pretty much on automatic mode, you know? All right. Check this. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please. It shall prosper in the thing whereunto I sent it. The Lord said it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Right? You got a lot of non-believers, a lot of NPCs. They don't believe that we're in the end days of the end days, man. The last days of the last days, man. So a lot of them are going to have to learn the hard way. But we have our eyes open. We can see clearly that we are clearly in the last days of the last days, man. All right? Bear with me. So anyways, let's get this. As I said, I coined this strike while the iron's hot. You know, I just typed it in ChatGPT. The phrase strike while the iron hot is hot originates from blacksmithing, right? Because you got the iron, you know, you got your materials and you heat it up and you start to hit it, right? You hit it while it's hot and you get to mold it into whatever instrument or sword, whatever you want to make it into, right? And you can apply that to the scriptures, man. Apply that to this truth, right? Get this word while you can. Make your call and election sure while you can, right? Because when Jacob's trouble pops off, we're not going to be out here on highways and byways, right? Like that, you know. However the Lord set it up, but for the most part, you know, that famine of the word is coming, right? Anyways, it refers to a practice of sharpening iron when it's heated to a malleable state, as it's easy to work with before it cools, you see. It's easier to work with as it cools, you know. Apply that to the elect. You know, everybody's going to go through the fire. The 2/3 and the elect is going to go through the fire. As you read in 2nd Ezra 7, right, where the 2/3 go through that fire, they're going to seek death, man. They're going to seek seek relief, man. You know, but the elect is going to go through that fire and they're going to be spiritually ready for it, man. They understand it's a test from the Lord and they're not going to fall. They're not going to waver, man. Anyways, it's easier to work with before it cools and hardens. Earliest known of the phrase in English appears in, Geoffrey Chaucer, 14th century, specifically the Reeves Tales, where it's phrased as, while the iron is hot, men sodden smite. The suggested idea was already a familiar proverb by then, right? Because there's nothing new under the sun, right? The seasons, time, you know. The metaphor was later popularized in English literature, notably by the author Richard Edwards in 1572. I strike while the iron is hot in political context. Anyways, let me see. I'm gonna just jump down. It says urgent, decisive actions, right? Urgent, decisive action. It reflects a broader concept of seizing opportunities when conditions are favorable. You see that? Seizing opportunities when conditions are favorable. Right now, we still have the opportunity. We still have the time to preach this word. The Lord called us to make our call and election sure. So this is what we're doing. The elect ain't sealed. We are still commanded to reach the elect. We are still commanded to feed the lambs of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. We are commanded not to hide our talent, right? You don't retire from this thing. The only time you retire from this thing is, hey, if you pass away, right? If you die, all right? That's it. Other than that, you stay to this truth until the end, right? There is no, you know, we're not like these pastors out here. You know, you get to a certain age and you just retire. No, we keep on pushing, man, right? Let's see, it reflects a broader concept of seizing opportunities when conditions are favorable, a sentiment echoed in other languages like Latin, uh, Crimpe de Mena, or Spanish, Batir el Hero, Menetres, está caliente, right? The phrase enduring using stems its vivid imagery and particular wisdom applicable beyond its original trade concept. But anyways, conveying wisdom of an acting prominently or purposeful, akin to striking while it's hot, while the iron is hot. The Bible often emphasizes discerning, discernment of timing. You see that? Discernment of timing. You see, these NPCs, these goyim, right? These heathens, right? Jake out there in the world, right? NPCs, right? They have no discernment of time. See, all these things is popping off, but they're still like, you know what? I still got my 401ks. You know what? I'm still planning for my children's college, you know. Planning like Babylon the Great is going to be here forever. No. Now, you do have, you know, people waking up, but they're not in this truth. So they're not going to be delivered. They're not going to be saved, right? They already believe that they're saved. So, you know, hey, they're going to have to learn the hard way. But as you read right here, Ecclesiastes 3:1, there's a time for everything, reinforcing the Proverbs' underlying principle, right? There's a time for everything. And right now, we're in the time of making your call and election sure. We're in a time where we should not be playing around. This is not the time for playing. It's a time for action. It's a time to spiritually gear up for Jacob's trouble, right? For the next phase of the lesson, right? That the Lord has in store for us. But anyways, I'm going to get a couple articles, you know, showing you clear as day, why we should strike while the iron is hot, right? The U.S. moves 30 jets as Iran attack speculation grows, right? So Babylon the Great is being drawn into this war, right? The scriptures speak of the least of the flock shall draw them out, just roughly paraphrasing the scripture. Who's the least of the flock? Who is that talking about? It's talking about Amalek, right? The chief tribe of Esau, Edom, who pretty much runs the whole world, who's pretty much being a big bad bully, right? Because you have another article, if I'm not mistaken. I'll see if it's here or not. But it talks about they don't want Iran to have nuclear missiles. You know, as you see, you know, for those that saw, you had, Israel attack Iran nuclear facilities, killing a bunch of their scientists, some of their top men, if I'm not mistaken, right? Which they're weak anyways. If you understand how weak they are, because you over there attacking the weak, you're attacking children, attacking women, right? You're attacking schools and hospitals, right? Brother in my camp had went into, brother's name is Hatazion, right? Had went into how they baiting some of the Iranians, with free food and then just gunning them down. Or they're saying that it's their right to purge these people, right? And if you know, Iran is Slovakia. Iran is pretty much has joined forces with Russia, right? And what's that going to do, man? The bear is going to attack, right? The bear is going to join forces. All right, this is World War III, right? This is pretty much the beginning stages of World War III happening right before our very eyes, man. And see, Iran's supreme leader issues new grave threat to Trump's U.S. Let me see. Let's see, telling the country it will suffer irreparable damage if it engages in military actions against Iran amid its conflict with Israel. Right? And hey, what we've been telling you, starting with the apostles and elders and brothers on down, right? Babylon the Great, which is America, is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear fire, right? The Americans should know that any U.S. military intervention would undoubtedly be accompanied by irreparable damage. All right, whatever boy's name, Khamenei, said in the televised address, the U.S. entering in this matter war is 100% to its own detriment. We've been telling you that, right? Things is going to happen, man. This is the end of Esau's Edom reign and rule, right? This kingdom is going to be destroyed, right? And you got these other nations like Russia and whatever, which are Edomites, right? The other nations as well, China, Moabites, thinking that they got next. Well, once Babylon the Great is destroyed, you shoot those missiles at this place, y'all going to be thrown into chains as well, right? Anyways, the damage it would suffer would be far greater than any harm that Iran may encounter, right? That thermonuclear fire, right? That fire that's going to burn these people. And just me speaking as a man, the Lord going to keep their spirit in their body, and they're going to feel every bit of that. It speaks about the tongue being burned, the eyes being burned out of these sockets, man. Right? So strike while the iron's hot. Get this word while you can, man. Let's see. We got a little more. Trump approved attack plans for Iran, but hasn't made a final decision to strike. Right? And we just read, you go and attack Iran, you're going to suffer irreparable damage. Right? See, once again, Iran is connected to Russia. Right? So we go, the elect is hoping and waiting to see the destruction of this place, while everybody else is hoping for this place to be here forever, right? And see, President Trump approved attack plans on Iran Tuesday night, but did not make a final decision on whether to strike the country and formally join Israel's air campaign. A senior intelligence source and Defense Department official told CBS News. Right? So we'll see. We'll see in the incoming days. Hey, I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow or in the incoming weeks. Right? This thing gets escalated. Just like we woke up and we saw that Israel attack Iran, attack its nuclear facilities. Right? Don't be surprised some things, start popping off, man. Let's see. Let's get this one right here. Let me see what this one says. I haven't read this one yet, but it says how Iran could retaliate against U.S. 3 possible options, right? Let me see if I can get into, let's see if it starts. It may starts right there. Yep. So strikes on U.S. assets. Israel has said it has full aerial superiority over Tehran and had destroyed more than 120 surface-to-surface missile launchers in central Iran, a third of its total arsenal. Israel dominance over Iran, which is only temporary, because just me speaking as a man, I think they playing around with them, letting them use up their, Iron Dome Defense Force, whatever. Let it use up those defense rockets so then they can come in and really use the big boys on them. That's just me speaking as a man, right? Dominance over Iran airspace, continuing strikes on missile launch pads, launchers have stopped Iran from responding with intensity it wanted to. Let's see, making. Let me see. I'm trying to get into. Trying to get into. Let me see. Let's see. The head of Iran's Parliamentary Committee on Defense and National Security said closing the Straits of Hormuz between Persian Gulf to Gulf. Let me see. Because I'm trying to, let me see, unleash Axis resistance. I'm trying to see if they actually go into how they're going to, how they can retaliate, but just going into, the other, other one like this one right here, irreparable damage, just, equating it to the scriptures, looking through it with our spiritual eyes. We understand that Babylon the Great, regardless, is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear fire, man. Right? Maybe they break it down, a little more in that article, but, for the sake of time, I'm going to just get to these scriptures. Anyways, this is Proverbs 6 and verse 6. Go to the ant, thou sluggard, and consider her ways, and be wise. There's wisdom in nature, right? We can see how the ants move, the animals move, and consider their ways. There's wisdom in nature, right? How the ants, once again, right here, it says, which having no guide or overseer or ruler, provided her meat in the summer and gather her food in the harvest, right? And you can look at that, how they go move, right? They're in order, right? They take care of the queen. They take care of the children. They have a job to do. And applying that to us within this truth, we have a job to do, right? Right now we got to plant. Right now this is planting season, right? Jacob's trouble pop off as that's the harvest, man. We're going to reap the fruits of our labor. Yahweh Zawi of those men, right? The Lord's going to take care of us, right? How long without sleep, oh slugger, right? You over here acting like nothing ain't popping off. You over here ain't making your call and election sure. You know that you're an Israelite, but you playing around. Will thou arise out of thy sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, and folding of the hands to the sleep. Check this, so shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, and thy wants as a armed man, right? Poverty, death, hell, and destruction is going to come upon you because you didn't reap. It's like you didn't plant. You didn't plant the harvest, right? While the time was right. You was over there playing games. You was playing around, right? You don't want to be in that type of spirit. You want to be in a spirit that's making that call and election sure, man. As we see right here, right? Galatians 6 and verse 7. Be not deceived, power is not mocked. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption, right? They over there trying to get a corruptible crown, get their consolation right now, right? Hey, that's your consolation. That's your crown, right? But that ain't going to last. They ain't going to take care of you in the midst of Jacob's trouble. But he that soweth to the Spirit shall reap. Sow to the Spirit of the Spirit shall reap life everlasting. You see, being the first fruits of the kingdom, getting that spiritual power, being taken care of in the midst of Jacob's trouble, right? And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. So, hey, this is the time to be planting. This is the time to be preaching his word. This is the time to be doing your lessons, right? So when all hell breaks loose, you'll have it in your spirit, in your mind, Yahweh desire you of those men that the Lord got you, man. That you did everything that you were supposed to do, right? Got this right here. Ephesians 5 and verse 15. Be in the NIV, be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity. Making the most of every opportunity. Making your call and election sure now. Striking while the iron is hot now, right? because the days are evil, right? You must understand the time and days that we living in, right? As we'll get in the KJV, Ephesians 5 and verse 15. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, right? Redeeming the times because the days are evil. See, the wise understand what time it is, man, right? The wise understand that evil is coming. And we not trying to sip that judgment. We trying to get that mercy, right? Wherefore be not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. Understand what the will of the Lord is, man. Right? You do his will. The Lord is not a man that he should lie. He's going to keep his bargain. Right? He's going to keep his end of the covenant. Right? So, hey, somebody got to be the NPCs. Right? So don't worry about if these people don't get this word, man. We only worried about the elect. As we read, and be not drunken with wine wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit, you see? Drunk with the cares of this world, drunk with these other philosophies, this wine of this world, man. Be filled with the Spirit. You filled with the Spirit, right? You doing the work of the Lord. Speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord, giving thanks always for all the things unto power and Father in the name of our Lord Yahushua Mashiach. Call Lord Yahweh Shai. All right. Stay in the course, man. All right. Get this right here. John 9 and verse 4 in the NIV. Right. As long as it is day, we must do the works of him that sent me. Night is coming when no man can work. Right. Jacob's trouble is coming where no man can work, right? The times is coming where they're going to be on your ass because you're the man of the Lord. They don't want you preaching anymore. They got their feelings hurt. They want to cast you into prison. They want to kill you, right? But check this. It's time to harvest. It's slocky. It's time to plant now so you can harvest and have peace of mind when Jacob's trouble pop off, that you good, man. All right, I'm going to get into KJV, John 9 and verse 1. And as Yahushua passed by, he saw a man which was blind from his birth. And his disciples asked, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? You see, this is why it's imperative to get this word. You know, as I was speaking earlier, you know, you got Jake. You know, they'll have a family member or a friend pass on, and they stop believing in the Lord because they hurt. They mourning all their lives over that, right? But our forefathers knew, and we come into this truth, you'll know, right? You'll know regeneration, reincarnation is biblical, right? So they asking, who did sin, this man or his parents, right? Did this man in his past life sin, or his parents did something to where, you know, in their life or past life that, you know, it will come to their children to be born blind? But check this, Yahushua answered, neither had this man sinned nor his parents, but that the works of power should be made manifested in him. You see, so this man didn't even do nothing, man. The Lord was like, the Lord created this man to come out blind so he can show his power. The times that we coming into, man, right? We're looked at as worms to Esau, Edom. But guess what? It's to show the Lord's power. It's for this man to be confounded. But anyways, let's get to it. God dang it. Stop doing that. All right. Let's see. Verse 4. I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work. As long as I'm in the world, I am the light of the world. Right? We got this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man. We're the light of the world. Right? But anyways, it's the time, man. While it's morning, It's time to get it. It's time to get it before it comes nighttime. And, hey, it ain't no working, man. Right? So make your call and election sure while you can. Ain't no playing around, man. Right? So with that, y'all right desires edifying lesson. Shalom, shalom, shalom.